Paul LaPaul's super gorgeous hop spread. Love it. H-O-P, hop spread. Paul LaPaul's hop spread. I love this. I learned it many, many years ago. It took me a while to learn. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, how to hold the cards, the pressure points, some of the frustrating challenges of it. I'm going to break that all down in a second, as well as how once you have that down, you'll be able to do Paul Harris's beautiful reverse fan curly Q. Curly Q, very cool move. I'm going to teach you both in a second. Before we get to it, though, I just want to say a couple of things that have been sort of weighing heavily on me. People seem, in cultures around the world, hell-bent on focusing on the things that we don't share, the things that separate us, this divisive nature. It's really disheartening. And they're feeling it in all the arts. And the magic world is this tiny, tiny little world. We all feel it here. And yeah, I'm kind of depressed on some of the things even going on here on YouTube. How some of the people uploading videos seem hell-bent on talking about, you know, what's good, what's bad, what styles work, what styles don't. When anybody who's spent some time performing for people understands it all comes down to the audience and the character in the moment. Almost anything can work. People would ask me years ago, so what was it like working with he who shall not be named, Criss Angel? What was that like working with Criss Angel? Because I did some consulting work on one of his seasons many years ago. And you know, it had its own challenges, personality challenges and this and that. But two things. One, I'm not always a joy to be with. And number two, do you know what Criss Angel has in common with you and with me? He's trying to make the most of what he's got going on. That's it. Okay, we're all in the same boat there. So I really don't appreciate the divisive nature, the judgmental tone, the condescending tone, the mockery that some people do on their channels of other magicians. I think it's uncool. I don't think it's what magic needs. And I have to take responsibility because I too, they do say you shouldn't drink and tweet. But I made the mistake. I had a couple of beers. I was in a pretty crappy mood a while ago, about a month ago, whatever. And I tweeted an asinine comment, an ignorant, stupid comment. And I'm owning it. I'm owning it. And I want you guys to know it. And this was about cardistry. I said, I referred to cardistry as glorified fidget spinning, which was stupid, ignorant. And you know what made it really ignorant? Not just that it was a mean-spirited, negative-minded thing, but it was truly the word. If you look at the word ignorant, it means unknowing, not knowing. And this was based, I could have just as easily in that moment tweeted something about dove workers. You know, it could have been about matrices. It could have been, but I chose to send out that stupid tweet. And this is somebody who had probably only seen, honestly, 5 to 10 pretty shoddy cardistry videos before then. So the response was almost immediate. From Twitter, Facebook, a lot of my fans got a hold of me and they said, hey Jay, that's just some crap. And they sent some videos that totally blew my mind and got my head way out of my butt. So thank you so much, guys, for the response, for getting my head out of my ass. Within 48 hours, I had sent out a worldwide apology to all my fan base. And I'd sent it out to a few key people as well who were bashing me. I sent out this apology. And of course, the apology, people were a lot more interested in sharing my original tweet than the apology. Because again, it's this negative minded that's going on in the community that again, I don't think is cool. It's dividing us. So if you want to read the apology I fired out within 48 hours of my stupid, a little bit drunk tweet, it'll be below this video. And again, a sincere apology to everybody because once I started really watching the cardistry videos, my mind was blown. The creativity, the originality, the fact that these people are able to not just look at them as a deck of cards, but it's almost clay. The elasticity, all the different applications blew my mind. So in the apology, in fact, I included even links to cardistry. So I went from basically a horse's ass who didn't know anything of what he was talking about and should have kept his mouth shut to someone who came to understand that actually this is super cool and everyone should take a peek at this. So in that spirit. Also, there was a hypocritical element because of course I've been using flourishes and I know flourishes are not quite the same as cardistry. I have a lot more respect for the limits of my understanding on this subject, but they're obviously related. So having said all that, we're going to jump down into this and please check out my apology and think about what you're doing today. And I have to do it too. Are we trying to bring people together? Are we trying to appreciate the differences? Or are we just trying to share our negative minded, our small minded, our crappy mood, you know, and the damage we can do with that? The very first thing I'm going to tell you right now about Paul LaPaul's hop spread is that probably 25% of the time, when I do this for lay people, and then try to move on with the trick, they say, stop, do that again. Show me the floating cards. Make the cards float again. For lay people, this looks like you're making the cards float. it's not just sort of a demonstration of skill. I think the space from here to here, there's just, and if you're using the fingertip correctly on it, when you get some serious extension, people will swear that you're making the cards float. And again, I'm going to say right now, I know, I'm owning this, guys. You know, I have a lot of skill as a magician and a performer, but I know I am nowhere near as elegant, and I don't handle the cards anywhere near as prettily as a lot of people in the world do, okay? So don't think I go to bed at night thinking, damn, I'm all that when it comes to the tidy, pretty flourishes. I know I'm not. I'm a little bit more like a potato picker here. I know that. But I get the job done. So I want you to keep in mind, do not limit how you see this. How we see our work limits how people see it, how they experience it. So when people started calling this the floating cards, I thought, wow, that really helped me appreciate how sort of the illusion inherent in this pretty flourish. Now, first, don't do this with a new deck. Okay, definitely you want a soft, older, soft, broken-in deck for this to work initially. Okay, number one, soft, not a nice, soft, broken-in deck, not a new deck. Second, you're going to have to play. The basic grip is here. The fingertips are just above the edge of the deck. So the deck is not sitting deep, okay? Nor are the fingertips pushing into the cards below the top cards. The tips are just above the top card, number one. Number two, you're gonna have to figure out, and I've seen a bunch, do you wanna grip the cards a little at the front, so the deck is sitting back a bit? Do you want them middle, where I tend to do it, or do you want them slightly forward even? They send the deck in a slightly different direction, whether you're here or here or here, okay? That's something else. So the deck is held deep in the palm, but not too deep. It's a little raised. That's where I'm holding, I want you to see. Okay. Second, the pressure you're applying, okay, is not quite, and this is subtle, the pressure you want is not quite directly across from each other when you squeeze that pack. I don't know if you can see this, but rather than the line of pressure being here, it's more like this. It's on a slight diagonal from the corner, front left corner, back to the right. I find when I get the deck bent like that, because you don't really want them spreading out flat. I don't think that's as pretty, okay? I think you want them going in this gorgeous arc. And notice they're going, I want to get as much of a stretch as possible, so I'm letting the cards feed off in a slightly diagonal fashion, starting with the crotch of the thumb, deep in, and the deeper they go, and not a great version, I'm going to spread my hand as wide as I can, so the right tip of the pinky can support the cards, okay? Because you really want to get as much distance as you can. Now, let's talk about the frustrations here. Whole bunch you're going to start, and when you first squeeze, the cards are going to come out like this. I don't even know if I can replicate how they're going to come. They're going to come out in chunks. They're going to be chunk, chunk, little spread, chunk. It's going to be a mess, okay? It's going to be chunky mess. Because what you're doing is you're squeezing too tight. And I'll mention this again and again in card work particularly. Do you know, I handled cards, and of course you would know this, it was about 15 years in, I'm not joking, when I literally felt my hands relax. And all of a sudden, rather than forcing the move or the grip on the deck, I started to work with the natural elasticity of a card. And I felt my wrists relax, and all of a sudden, my flourishes and everything I was doing really started to flow a lot better, because rather than trying to fight with the cards and force them, I was working with them, as trippy as that sounds. So watch your grip, play with how deep, but like I said, make sure it's not too deep, and make sure it's not too, definitely the one thing I'd suggest is you're going to find no matter what you're doing, no matter where you hold the deck at whatever position, is you want the fingertips just above, okay? You're going to work on a squeeze, and the squeeze comes more from the base of the thumb than from this in that direction, right? Like this. And we know about the spread of the hand, and the rest is practice. If I were to tell you it's going to take you 500 times before you get to do this move and the hands start to learn it, realize that every time you do it and you screw up, that's one time less. 499, 498, 497. So take your time. Now, the curlicue move, which is a variation on this. Once you have this grip down, if you take the deck, and it's a Paul Harris idea, you back it a little deeper, okay? Because I hold it mid. If you put a little back towards yourself, okay? you'll find you'll be able to squeeze, okay, and get this nice reverse fan. And the left thumb is going to be your pivot point, and it's not in the upper left-hand corner, okay? Nicht alla ost alla kette. It's more in the middle here. Das Geleitake. Okay, so it's not there, it's here. Quand you push it like this, you'll get that nice. And you'll find that once you get the Paul's beautiful hop spread, you'll be able to very quickly get Paul Harris's very pretty curly Q reverse fan. I often try to think about magic in terms of the other arts, painting and dance and cinema. And, you know, in painting, the paint and the brush are considered just brute, dead tools. And it's what the person creates with them that matters. In magic, we seem to get so caught up in a shell coin, as if, I mean, a shell coin is a miracle of engineering that couldn't have been made, 500 years ago. We didn't have, so it's a beautiful thing, a shell that sits on a coin, but it's just a dead, dumb tool. And I think a double lift is similar. Though, of course, you can look at no two people do a double lift the same way. The dance of the cards and all these kinds of things. But I think as a community, we gain a lot by trying to move magic forward, thinking about these things as means to another end, not as an end in themselves, and getting too caught up in that. I mentioned that regarding flourishes because, I mean, one of the things I love about flourishes that I think connects magic with the other arts is a flourish is an explicit way of taking something that isn't alive and bringing it to life. When you do the hop spread for a moment, it's as if the deck is alive. And people understand it's not, I mean, the floating, I swear when I do people swear there's some sort of levitation involved in it when they see it very briefly, okay? But I'm mentioning all this because this notion of bringing things to life, and this is what I think we try to do as magicians, that we take a deck of cards or coins or borrow a bill, and we take these inert, dead, everyday items and we try to bring them to life in front of people, either with explicit animation, they move without, either move across the table in this kind of animation, or just an ambitious card is a great example of bringing something to life. A card that is supposed to be in the middle somehow moves. And this notion of movement and vitality and change is inherent in the ideas of what a living thing is. If a thing doesn't move and it doesn't seem to change, we often don't really think of it as alive. So just a few thoughts around that as you're exploring flourishes. I hope you like this. There's a few more flourishes. I don't do a whole bunch. For real people in the real world, I maybe do 6, 7 of them. I'm going to make a point over the coming months to share a few of them with you. I know you guys really enjoy them. I do too. I think they serve, Daryl Martinez, he said, I think he was saying that flourishes were like the croutons in the salad, that they really, they had a beautiful focus of their own. And yeah, I know I mentioned him on another video, but he's going to be missed, Daryl. Amazing guy. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.